Every choice you make whispers to your soul, shaping a path you may never fully see. Some choices promise instant pleasure, a rush of satisfaction that fades before you even realize its cost. Today, I will reveal a hidden danger that has silently claimed the spirit of many, the illusion of immediate gratification. In Shaolin wisdom, patience is not weakness, and discipline is not burden. True growth unfolds slowly, like a river carving through stone over decades. Yet, in our modern world, shortcuts tempt even the most mindful. A moment of indulgence may seem harmless, but repeated without awareness, it begins to erode your inner strength, your clarity, and your connection to higher purpose. Few understand this subtle trap. Ancient Shaolin masters spoke of desires as shadows, harmless when observed, deadly when followed blindly. There are stories rarely told of monks who faltered not in battle or meditation, but in surrendering to fleeting temptations. Their lessons survive today, whispering that the soul cannot flourish under the weight of constant craving. By the end of this video, you will recognize the hidden signs of this spiritual threat. You will learn how to redirect impulses, cultivate patience, and safeguard your inner fire. Every action, no matter how small, carries consequences for the soul. Awareness is your shield, discipline your compass. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, a sanctuary where ancient wisdom ignites modern life. Stay with me as we explore truths often overlooked and awaken practices that preserve your spirit from silent decay. Subscribe now and join a journey where each choice is a step toward mastery, each moment a chance to honor your higher self. The mind wanders like a restless wind, and the body follows wherever it blows. Many walk through life unaware that the first battle is always within, the quiet struggle to master oneself. Neglect this, and even the grandest pursuits crumble like sand through your fingers. In the early days of Shaolin, novices would rise before dawn, their bodies aching, their minds resisting, yet every repetition, every disciplined breath was a silent declaration: control begins here, within. Mastery is not born from talent or circumstance, but from the courage to observe the mind without surrender, to guide the body with intention rather than impulse. There are those who believe they are free, yet their habits chain them. The craving for comfort, the impulse to act before thinking, the surrender to anger or fear, each is a thread tightening around the spirit. Even small neglects, repeated daily, accumulate like a hidden poison. One skipped practice, one unexamined thought, one indulgence that seems minor, yet each leaves a mark on the soul. Shaolin teachings remind us that the mind and body are mirrors. Neglect one and the other distorts. A sharp mind cannot dwell in chaos, and a strong body cannot flourish under carelessness. Mindfulness becomes the lamp, discipline the path. Through deliberate practice, even the simplest act, a controlled breath, a focused step, a mindful word, becomes a fortress against spiritual decay. Those who ignore these small acts of self-mastery invite imbalance. Their spirit drifts, caught in currents they do not control. The lesson is ancient but urgent. Mastery is neither show nor ceremony. It is quiet, persistent, and deeply personal. Each day offers a chance to reclaim the mind, to guide the body, and to honor the alignment between inner will and higher purpose. The heart can be a quiet battlefield, and the fiercest enemy often wears no armor. Anger rises like smoke, envy whispers in the shadows, and pride builds walls around the spirit. Left unchecked, these emotions slowly erode the very energy that fuels growth, like water wearing down stone over time. In the teachings of the Shaolin, emotions are neither enemies nor possessions. They are signals, brief messengers arriving to be acknowledged, not followed. Monks practice sitting in stillness, observing the stirrings of the mind without clutching or rejecting them. A flash of anger was met with calm breath, a pang of envy with gentle awareness. Pride was noted, not nurtured. In this simple act, watching without attachment, the heart learned resilience. Those who indulge repeatedly in negative emotions create a cycle that tightens its grip with each repetition. A small irritation becomes rage. A fleeting comparison grows into resentment. Pride hardens into arrogance. The mind begins to crave these storms, unaware that energy is being drained, that the light within dims with every indulgence. Ancient masters often said, to conquer the self is to conquer the world, not through force, but through quiet discipline. By observing the heart, refusing to feed destructive impulses, the spirit grows stronger. Even in moments of provocation, restraint becomes practice. Each choice to step back, to breathe, to let the emotion pass without consumption builds a foundation of inner mastery. In this way, the path is not one of suppression, but of understanding. Negative emotions are like fire. When uncontrolled, they consume. When observed, they illuminate. The strength of the spirit is measured not in the absence of feelings, but in the ability to witness them, to hold space for them, and to choose action that preserves clarity, energy, and inner peace. Anger often arrives like a sudden storm, blinding the mind and shaking the body. Envy creeps quietly, planting seeds of discontent that grow unnoticed. Pride, subtle and persistent, builds walls around the heart, isolating the spirit from humility and truth. Left unobserved, these emotions drain energy slowly, like water seeping from a vessel until the soul feels hollow and fragile. In the Shaolin tradition, emotions are recognized not as enemies but as mirrors. They reflect the state of the mind and reveal where attention is needed. Monks learn to witness anger without reacting, to notice envy without feeding it, and to acknowledge pride without surrendering to it. Meditation became a tool of clarity, a practice of stepping aside from the mind's turbulence, observing without attachment and returning to balance. Feeding these emotions repeatedly, even in small ways, is like pouring fuel onto a quiet fire. A harsh word spoken in irritation, a moment of comparison that sparks jealousy, a thought that inflates self-importance. Each seems insignificant alone, but over time they erode spiritual resilience. The mind becomes restless, the heart heavy, and the spirit loses its natural radiance. Ancient masters taught that true strength is quiet and deliberate. Discipline is not in suppressing emotions, but in mastering attention. Each moment spent in awareness, each pause before reaction, is an exercise in inner power. Observing without attachment allows the heart to remain calm while the world shifts around it. The path is subtle. Strength is built not through domination over others, but through mastery over oneself. By refusing to indulge destructive impulses, the spirit preserves its energy and clarity. In this space of mindful presence, anger softens, envy dissolves, pride humbles, and the soul becomes resilient, steady, and luminous, a quiet force unshaken by the storms within or without. There are moments when the world seems ordinary, when life flows like a quiet river, and yet beneath the surface guidance waits. Subtle signs, gentle nudges from God or the universe appear in whispers, a phrase overheard, a chance encounter, a fleeting thought that feels heavier than ordinary. Those who fail to notice these signs drift unknowingly, their path clouded, their spirit dimmed. Spiritual death rarely comes as a thunderclap. It begins with distraction, with a mind too busy to listen. Ancient Shaolin masters understood this deeply. They trained not only the body but the senses of the heart and mind, cultivating awareness of the unseen currents that guide life. A disciplined mind, focused and attentive, can perceive the quiet lessons hidden in everyday moments, aligning action with a higher order. Arrogance blinds. The belief that one knows the path, that the self is the sole architect of fate, cuts the soul off from wisdom that flows beyond reason. Distraction blinds as well. Constant noise, endless busyness, the pull of fleeting desires, all obscure the subtle signals meant to direct, correct, and uplift. Without mindfulness, even the most powerful guidance can pass unnoticed, leaving the spirit vulnerable to missteps and decay. Mindfulness is the lantern in this quiet darkness, pausing to observe, reflecting on thoughts, and feeling the gentle pulses of intuition cultivates sensitivity to divine messages. Each small act of attention, a thoughtful pause before speaking, a deliberate choice over habit, a quiet moment of reflection, strengthens the connection to guidance. The ancients taught that life is not merely a sequence of events, but a dialogue with the universe. When one listens deeply, even the smallest sign carries profound meaning. Awareness preserves the soul, directs the heart, and ensures that each step moves in harmony with higher purpose, preventing spiritual drift into silence and shadow. The path of the Spirit is shaped not only by what we do, but by who walks beside us. Every word heard, every gesture observed, leaves an imprint on the mind and heart. In life, some carry light, patience, and wisdom. Others carry shadows, subtle influences that cloud judgment, stir desire, and weaken discipline. Shaolin masters often spoke of the invisible weight carried by association. A single toxic presence can shift the energy of a room, planting seeds of doubt, envy, or haste. Even those who seem harmless can introduce habits and thoughts that steer the soul away from balance. The company we keep becomes a mirror. Over time, their values, fears, and impulses reflect within us, shaping choices and altering the rhythm of inner life. Discipline is not only personal effort, but careful cultivation of environment. To walk among the disciplined, the virtuous, the mindful is to be reminded constantly of higher standards. Every conversation, every shared silence becomes practice, a reinforcement of clarity, patience, and moral alignment. Conversely, indulgence in deceit, shortcuts, or selfishness erodes resilience. The energy of these behaviors lingers, unseen, until it subtly dictates action, thought, and intention. Ancient Shaolin wisdom emphasized vigilance in selecting companions. It is not a matter of judgment or pride, but of preservation. The heart is delicate, and the spirit susceptible to contamination when exposed to repeated negativity. Wisdom lies in noticing the influence of those around us, observing how their presence affects thought and feeling, and choosing alignment with those whose path strengthens rather than diminishes. In the quiet moments, one realizes that true mastery extends beyond self. It is the courage to step away from familiar but destructive patterns, the discipline to seek guidance and energy that uplifts, and the awareness that every relationship is a reflection and a test of inner strength. Surrounding oneself with virtue is not optional. It is a practice of the soul, shaping both destiny and freedom. In the quietest moments, truth speaks softly, yet many move through life wrapped in constant noise, activity, and distraction, unaware that each clamor pulls them farther from themselves. The mind, never still, becomes restless, and the heart loses its rhythm. Wisdom cannot flourish amidst endless chatter and unexamined motion. Shaolin masters understood the power of stillness. Monks would spend hours in silent meditation, not to escape the world, but to meet it with clarity. In reflection, the mind disentangles from fleeting desires and illusions. The breath becomes a guide, the body an instrument of awareness, and the heart a mirror reflecting what truly matters. Silence is not emptiness. It is the space in which insight arises, the soil in which discipline and understanding take root. Rejecting these practices is more than negligence. It is surrender to chaos. Without reflection, impulses gain strength, decisions are made hastily, and energy dissipates. Small lapses accumulate, and the spirit becomes brittle, vulnerable to distraction and external influence. The lessons hidden in daily life go unnoticed, and the subtle guidance of intuition and conscience fades beneath the roar of constant activity. Even brief periods of contemplative practice reshape the inner landscape, observing thoughts without attachment, sitting in stillness, and listening to the rhythms of the body and mind cultivate mastery over impulses. Each moment of intentional pause strengthens resilience, sharpens discernment, and restores alignment with purpose. The ancients taught that the path to mastery is not found in endless doing, but in learning to be. Silence and reflection are the bridges between action and understanding, discipline and insight. By embracing them, the soul gains steadiness, the mind gains clarity, and the spirit thrives. Neglecting this sacred practice leaves life scattered, energy wasted, and the heart disconnected from the deeper currents that guide existence. The soul trembles when actions betray truth. Every choice, no matter how small, carries the weight of intention. Acting without integrity may seem inconsequential in a single moment, but repeated, it erodes the foundation of the spirit, leaving emptiness where clarity and peace once lived. Shaolin philosophy teaches that mastery is reflected not only in meditation or strength, but in right action. Every day offers countless opportunities to practice honesty, compassion, and alignment with moral principle. Even seemingly trivial decisions, a word spoken carelessly, a shortcut taken, a temptation indulged, shape the trajectory of the spirit. Over time, these choices accumulate, guiding destiny either toward light or toward decay. Dishonesty and manipulation are subtle poisons. They warp perception, disturb the mind, and cloud judgment. Betrayal, even of small trust, ripples outward, severing connection to self and to others. The heart grows restless, the mind unsettled, and the quiet guidance of conscience is drowned by guilt and rationalization. The soul loses its resonance with higher purpose, and the subtle favor of divine alignment wanes. Ancient masters understood that true strength is inseparable from virtue. Courage without integrity is empty. Skill without honesty is brittle. Discipline without ethical grounding leads only to frustration and spiritual vulnerability. Acting with integrity is a daily conscious practice, a constant calibration of thought, word, and deed. To live in alignment with inner truth is to cultivate freedom. Each choice rooted in honesty strengthens the spirit, clarifies the mind, and draws one closer to divine flow. Integrity is the compass that guides the soul through the storms of temptation and distraction. Neglect it, and the path darkens. Honor it, and even the smallest actions become vessels of lasting strength, peace, and spiritual vitality. The ego whispers in subtle ways, dressing its demands as necessity, its desires as wisdom. It convinces the mind that self-interest, pride, and personal gain are the measure of success. Yet, the ego is a fragile construct, and when it dominates, it blinds the spirit to deeper truths, severing connection to higher purpose. In Shaolin practice, the first task is not the mastery of technique, but the mastery of self. Mindfulness trains the mind to observe the stirrings of ego without surrendering to them. A thought of superiority, a craving for recognition, or a rush of resentment is acknowledged, examined, and released. This quiet awareness transforms the ego from master into messenger, revealing its influence without allowing it to dictate action. Overestimating the ego is a silent thief. Decisions guided by pride often lead to conflict, isolation, and inner turbulence. Self-centeredness narrows perception, obscuring the subtle guidance of intuition, conscience, and spiritual insight. Even well-intentioned actions, when driven by ego, lose alignment with virtue and purpose. The spirit tires under the weight of self-importance, while unseen opportunities for growth and connection pass unnoticed. Ancient Shaolin masters warned that the ego thrives on distraction and indulgence. True strength lies in humility, discipline, and deliberate reflection. By observing ego impulses without giving them control, the mind cultivates clarity and resilience. Each moment of restraint, each choice to act from awareness rather than self-interest fortifies the spirit. The path of inner mastery requires the courage to confront the ego's illusions. Pride may feel satisfying, but it narrows vision. Self-centeredness may feel protective, but it isolates the heart. Only through mindful observation, patience, and disciplined action can the ego be balanced, allowing the soul to move in harmony with higher purpose, wisdom, and the quiet, enduring flow of life. The body carries the spirit through the world, yet it is often treated as if it were separate from the mind or soul. Shaolin masters understood the body as a sacred vessel, a temple for energy, focus, and clarity. Neglect it, and the spirit falters. Nurture it, and the mind and heart find strength beyond measure. Physical discipline is more than exercise. It is a dialogue between the body and the inner self. Through training, movement, and controlled breath, energy, qi, circulates freely, sharpening awareness and fortifying resilience. Every posture, every step, every deliberate motion is an act of devotion, a way to align the physical vessel with higher purpose. When the body is weak, restless, or harmed through overindulgence, the mind follows. Spiritual clarity dims, and the subtle connection to intuition and discipline becomes obscured. Even minor neglect accumulates. Poor habits, overconsumption, or careless disregard for rest erode vitality slowly, like water wearing away stone. The spirit may strive, yet it struggles within a body that resists, burdened by imbalance. Ancient Shaolin teachings remind us that the harmony of body and mind is inseparable. True mastery demands attention to both, for energy flows where care is given and stagnates where it is denied. Mindful care of the body requires awareness and consistency. Nutrition, movement, and rest become sacred rituals, each performed with intention. The breath anchors the mind, the posture cultivates presence, and the senses sharpen through disciplined awareness. By honoring the vessel that carries life, the spirit gains freedom to flourish. To ignore the body is to invite weakness and confusion. To respect it is to cultivate vitality, discipline, and clarity. In this balance, the mind, heart, and spirit move in unison, grounded in strength, attuned to purpose, and open to the flow of energy that sustains life and deepens the journey of self-mastery. Comfort can feel like a sanctuary, yet it often hides a quiet danger. The familiar shields the mind from discomfort, and the predictable dulls the spirit. Those who cling to old habits or resist change find themselves trapped in patterns that no longer serve growth, while the soul quietly withers beneath the weight of stagnation. Shaolin masters taught that true evolution demands courage. Every step into the unknown, every challenge faced with patience and presence, stretches the boundaries of the self. Growth is not instantaneous. It unfolds slowly, requiring both effort and surrender. One must surrender attachment to outcomes, surrender the illusion of control, and yet engage fully with the lessons life offers. Fear of discomfort is a test. Resisting it only strengthens the chains that bind the spirit. The mind that clings to old ways deceives itself with security. It avoids reflection, refuses insight, and rejects the subtle nudges that call one toward transformation. In doing so, energy stagnates, vitality diminishes, and spiritual inertia sets in. Even the most disciplined practices lose potency when the heart resists evolution, for mastery is not static. It is a living, breathing process that demands adaptation, courage, and attentiveness. Ancient teachings emphasize patience alongside action. Growth is a series of small, deliberate choices, moments of discomfort embraced rather than avoided, lessons received rather than ignored, habits refined rather than clung to. In this ongoing process, the spirit expands, clarity deepens, and resilience emerges. To resist change is to invite decay. To embrace it is to cultivate life. Every challenge becomes a teacher, every discomfort a doorway. By stepping willingly into the currents of transformation, the mind, body, and spirit align with the rhythm of growth, and the soul moves steadily along the path of self-mastery, strength, and enduring clarity. Spiritual decline rarely strikes all at once. It creeps in quietly, born from small choices that drift away from virtue, mindfulness, and self-mastery. Each decision shapes the soul, and repeated neglect can slowly dim the light within. God's chosen ones are called to vigilance, discipline, and presence. By cultivating self-mastery, observing emotions without attachment, embracing moments of silence, and aligning every action with integrity, the spirit remains strong and clear. These practices are not mere routines. They are the foundation for spiritual life and the path to fulfilling divine potential. Take these lessons into your daily life. Pause before reacting, nurture your body and mind, seek wisdom in stillness, and choose honesty and virtue in every step. Each mindful choice strengthens your connection to higher purpose and keeps your spirit aligned with the flow of life. Let this be a gentle reminder. The smallest acts of awareness can protect your soul from subtle decay and guide you toward growth, clarity, and peace. If this message resonates, join our journey of inner mastery and timeless wisdom. Like this video, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, and walk the path of discipline, reflection, and spiritual strength alongside us.